or welcome back to a game of Fangs and Thrones. My name's Hannah. I write books and occasionally I read them too. And in case you hadn't guessed, by the title of this video, this is my slightly delayed and definitely deranged January reading wrap-up. I actually have no idea how much I read last month. But I do know the majority of what I read was on Kindle, and it was one particular series. And that series was The Vampire Knitting Club by Nancy Morgan. I can't read my own writing. I read, technically I finished Popcorn and Poltergeists on New Year's Day, so it is included in this one. I read Popcorn and Poltergeists, Garters and Gargoyles, Diamonds and Daggers, and Herringbone and Hexes. So 4 books, and they are books 9 through 12 in the Vampire Knitting Club, which is a cozy mystery series. They're all available on Kindle Unlimited, following our main character, whose name I have forgotten, as she inherits a knitting shop in Oxford called Cardinal Wolsey's. It gets me every time. From her dearly departed grandmother. Oh, it's Lucy. Her main character's name is Lucy. Now, when Lucy arrives in Oxford, she doesn't know about her grandmother's death. She's just she's wanting to escape and recover from her broken heart from Todd the Toad. That's basically the premise of the first book. But then she finds out that her grandmother isn't actually dead. She is a recently turned vampire. And for obvious reasons, she can't run her shop. So Lucy solves the murder, well, the attempted murder of her grandmother, and it just goes from there. These are fun, they're fluff reads almost, and they are very enjoyable, to the point where I think this is becoming one of, if not my favourite series so far. They are addictive, those books. I am having to ration myself because there's not many left. I don't want to say 13's the last one, but there aren't. I think there might be 15, but either way, there aren't many and I want to savour them. So then the next book I read was She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, and this was a reread for me because of another video that will come later in the year, hopefully. And I did enjoy it. I read that on Kindle as well, so at the risk of repeating myself later on and you having to listen to the same thoughts, I enjoyed this one not as much as I remember. And now that I've had a little bit of time to think, I don't know if I'm going to continue with that duology. I might not, but it's definitely not a priority read. But I am glad I read it now that the hype had died down a little bit, because I think I got it in a Lumicrate box and enjoyed it. But I don't know if that was just because of the hype. It wasn't not normally my thing, historical martial fantasy. I like my magic. Speaking of which, the next book I read was The Storm of Echoes by Christelle de Boer. This is French and was translated by Hildegard Searle. I think it's always important to mention the translators because they do just as good a job as the actual authors. This is book 4 in the Mirror Visitor series, following Ophelia as she goes traipsing around and wanting to solve the mystery of her world. This is a middle grade that sort of blurs into young adult. I think the romance is very limited to kissing, but it does talk about pregnancy and things like that, and it does deal with some teenage topics, but it is very clean. I hate that term. It's very safe and PG in the romance. I didn't like this one. It didn't feel like a finale. It didn't have as much of a punch as I was expecting. Maybe it's because it's been a while since I've read the other three, but it just didn't do it. I'd lost, some of the whimsy had been lost, and it started talking about God. I am not Christian. I'm not religious in any way. No shame or shade to anybody who is and finds comfort in that. That's amazing. It's just not for me. So I don't like it when the books I'm reading try to push that agenda. Fictional gods, historical gods, fine. But there's something about Christian God where I like learning about other religions, don't get me wrong, but when it feels heavy-handed and almost forced down my throat, no. This got close, I think. So, unfortunately, I'm going to unhaul this one. Stay tuned for another video on that, actually. And then the last book I read, again, was for the same project that Lace and Lies, which was the book I read in December, starting off the challenge. It's another vampire mysteries book. She Who Became the Sun. Water Moon by Samantha Soto Yambo also falls under that category for the challenge. If you have any idea what the challenge is, please let me know. I would be really interested to hear your thoughts on it and your guesses, but this is an incredibly beautiful book. It didn't quite hit that emotional mark for me, but I still really enjoyed it. It follows Hannah, as you can tell I've recently read this, I've got more to talk about. It follows Hannah as she is about to take over her father's pawn shop in a world where they don't sell and trade objects, they buy and sell choices, memories. And you only find this shop if you have a choice to make, or a choice you've regretted and you need rid of it. Our main character, Hannah, has grown up in this world. She knows her place, because in this world every child is tattooed with their story on their skin. And it's, you know, it is what it is. So hope is very important for these people. Then we have Kai. I want to say his name is Kai. Okay. He is recently returning to Japan where this is set, following a choice, and instead of needing help, he offers it to Hannah after she finds out that her father has been taken and the pawn shop has been destroyed. And what is really important is that there has been a choice stolen from the pawn shop, and the keepers of choices want it back. They are scary, but not overtly scary, more in a foreboding, moralistic scary, I would say. By that I mean they are the thing that goes bump in the night. They are the reason why you do what you're told. But this was beautiful. I've got no other words for it. It's a beautiful addition. Just look at that. And it is full of whimsy, but it's whimsy, it's structured whimsy. It makes sense. I can understand it. It follows, it flows. And I think what I'm leaning towards in my translated fiction, my Asian or Eastern inspired fiction, is the way they can be so beautiful and so succinct in such a few words. They tell a story with as little words as possible, and yet the meaning, the imagery, the plot, the characters, they come through. They don't shout, they whisper, and I think this is a story that possibly will linger with me for a while. So not I'm not reading books, but this was very good, and it is a keep. Now, I've rambled on longer than I thought I would. I've read more than I remembered. Admittedly, some of it was just fluff reads, but you know, fluff reads count. So if you've read any of the books that I've been talking about, let me know. Let me know what you think. And if you just want to chat in the comment, leave any kind of water or book emoji and tell me what you've read this month. Tell me what your favourite book of the month was. I think it's no question that it was this one for me. And I will see you in whatever video comes next. So give this video a like if you like it, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see this, talk about these, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.